Okay, today we're going to finish 11.7 solving rational equations. And today we're going to be doing the method where we solve using the LCD. You're going to use the LCD when there is more than one rational expression on either one or both of the sides of the equation. Yesterday we had one on each side. When that happens, you want to use the cross products method or the proportion method. But today, when there is more than one on each side, you have to use the LCD method. So if you take a look at number 7, you'll see I have one rational on the left side and 3 rationals on the right side. Whenever you have that, that's when you're going to use this LCD method. First thing you have to do is figure out what the LCD is, and you're going to multiply the entire equation by that LCD. So I'm going to put parentheses here to signify that I'm going to multiply. And the LCD for a monomial is easy to find. This is even easier because it's all numbers. So again, what we're going to look for is what would the common denominator of 12, 6, 3, and 4 be? And it is 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this entire equation, each part of it, by 12. So 7 times 12, 3m times 12, negative m times 12, and 1 times 12. And the reason that we use the LCD is because things are going to cancel in the multiplication process. The denominators will all then go into that LCD. So 12 divided by 12, they actually cancel each other out, leaving just 7 with no denominator. And that's going to equal, for the second one, 6 goes into 2 times. So really, I just have to multiply this numerator by the leftover, which is 2, so that's going to be 6m. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So negative m times 4 is negative 4m. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. 1 times 3 is 3. Again, the purpose of this is to eliminate the denominators. Then you're going to solve it like a regular equation. We have to combine our like terms. Get rid of the 3. 3. I was getting the answer in my head there. Divide by 2. M equals 2. And then we're going to check for our excluded values. There are no variables in the denominator, so there's no excluded value. The answer to this problem is 2. Number 8, again, we're going to multiply this by the LCD, and they're monomials, so that's easy. First thing we do is we're going to draw out parentheses. And for the numerical part of the LCD, you want to find the common denominator of all the coefficients. So 1, 3, and 1. The common denominator there would be 3. And for the variables, you look for the same variable with the highest degree. And the highest exponent on the p's is 1, so p to the first would be our LCD. And we're then going to multiply that times each of the parts. So this one times 3p, this one times 3p, and this one times 3p. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up canceling some things out. The p's here will cancel, so this is just going to be 1 times 3, which is 3. The 3's here will cancel, so it'll be negative 2 times p, which is negative 2p. And here the p's are going to cancel, so it'll be 7 times 3, which is 21. And then we solve the equation. Subtract 3. Divide by negative 2. P is going to equal negative 9. Check for our excluded values. They're monomials. So monomials with variables have an excluded value of 0. which is not matching my answer, so my answer is going to be -9. All right, number 9, we have binomials here. So finding the LCD is a little bit more complicated, and I've kind of started the process here just for you to watch. You can certainly pause the video and copy this down if you want. When we're looking for the LCD, we have to factor each of the parts, which I've already done. And then we look for ones that have that are common to each of them. So the z minus 2 is common to 2 of them, so I'll go ahead and cross them off. That will be part of my LCD. And then anything that's left over, which is the 3. And I like to rewrite it so that my monomial comes first. And I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 3 parentheses z minus 2. So first one times 3 z minus 2. Second one times 3 parentheses z minus 2. And the third one times 3 parentheses z minus 2. And again, what should happen here is the things should be able to cross off. So in the first one, the z minus 2 and the z minus 2 are the common factors. They cross off. So I do 3 times z, which is 3z. Second one, the 3's are going to cross off. Now this subtraction here gets people messed up sometimes. This is a -2. So I have to do -2 times z, which is -2z. And -2 times -2, which is +4. Make sure you include that negative when you are distributing. For the last one, the z minus 2's will cross off, leaving me with 2 times 3, which is 6. And then you solve it. You're going to combine your like terms. That'll be 1z plus 4 equals 6. Subtract 4. Z is going to equal 2. Now we need to do our excluded values. I like to go back to my LCD. It has them all in there. So this one does not have one. There's no variable with our monomial. With our binomial, the excluded value is 2, which is a problem because that's what we got for our answer. So that actually means that this problem has no solution. Number 10. Again, I've kind of factored them all for you already. Again, save some time. Feel free to pause the video and go ahead and write that down. Again, looking for my LCD. Anything that they have in common. Anything left over. Again, I like to have my monomials first. And I'm going to multiply this whole thing by n times n plus 3. So the first one times n, parenthesis, n plus 3. Second one times n, n plus 3. And the third one times n, n plus 3. I'm just distributing there. And what should happen is things should cross off. For my first one, the n's cross off. The denominator should eliminate every time. If it doesn't, you didn't pick the right LCD. So I'm going to do 2 times n, which is 2n. 2 times +3, which is 6. The n plus 3's will cross off here. So plus 1 times n, which is 1n, equals. The n plus 3's will cross off here. So I'm going to get equals 5n. And now I'm going to solve. Combine my like terms. 3n plus 6 equals 5n. Subtract 3n. 6 equals 2n. Divide by 2. N equals 3. Check my excluded values. We have a monomial with a variable, so 0 is an excluded value. Here, -3 would make that 0, so that's my other excluded value. And they don't match my answer, so 3 is going to be correct. All right, number 11. First thing in number 11, you'll notice you have two terms on this side, but this one here is a whole number, so it's not written as a rational. You have to make them all rationals, just like you would, doing regular fraction problems. Any whole number would be over 1. So if you look over here at my LCD work, I did include the 1, but I didn't write anything because 1 doesn't have any factors that make a difference, so I left it blank. So here are all the factoring of all those denominators. And you'll notice in common, I have this a minus 6. And the one that's left over is this a plus 6. And just for the sake of it, because we're going to need it later, I'm going to write down that this value of this a minus 6, a plus 6 is this a squared minus 36. We're going to need that later, and I'll explain why in 1 second. Okay, but we're going to use both of them. All right, let's multiply. I'm going to multiply this by a minus 6 and a plus 6. So each term. And my first one, the a minus 6's will cancel. So I have to do 4 times a plus 6, which is 4a plus 24. For the second one, nothing will cancel. So I have to multiply all of this. The reason that I multiplied it over here is because that's what that equals. So I have to do 1 times that. It kind of saves me some time. So this is going to be plus a squared minus 36. And this one, this is worth the same as this, so both of those would cancel, and we're left with equaling 9. All right, what I see here is I see a squared variable, which means we are going to have to factor to find our answers. I would like you to go ahead and pause the video and solve this equation for A. Check your excluded values and see if all of our answers will work. Okay, when I solved this, I got A can equal -7 or +3. The excluded values were +6 and -6. None of those applied to my answer, so my answer is both -7 and +3. Go ahead and pause the video one more time, and I would like you to do number 12 all the way through. Find the LCD, multiply each part by that LCD, and solve the equation and check for excluded values. Let's see how you did. Okay, here's the answer. Feel free to pause this at any time to check your work. First thing to make sure that you have here is you have the LCD being x minus 1 and x plus 1, which is the equivalent to x squared minus 1. Again, I'm getting that from here. You multiplied each part. Here the x minus 1's canceled. You get 6x plus 6. Here, this was over 1, so nothing canceled, so I go back over here and I use this one to make sure I don't have to do the FOIL. And I get 2x squared minus 2. And then for this last one, everything cancels off and I'm left with 12. Combine my like terms. Got a squared variable, so we want to make it equal to 0. Again, hopefully you saw the GCF. That does make life a little easier for you. You don't have to do the British method, and you don't have to do product sum if you pull that out. But we got x can equal -4 and +1. My excluded values were +1 and -1. So if you see here in blue, I crossed off the 1 because it can't be an answer. Our only possible answer for this one is x equals -4. All right, that's it for today. You have some problems to do. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.